Hello, hello, hello. I'm back. Hi, everyone. This is Marie. I haven't been online in a very long time, but I'm here now. We are gonna have a lot of fun today. And if you're not familiar, this is completely for free, just for you. And today we're going to do something very important, but also difficult. So if you feel that maybe it's above your level, that's fine. Stay here with us, with me. I'm by myself. Stay with me, make notes. If you have any questions, then write a comment. I will get back to you. Because I think this is super important, even for intermediate speakers. You are going to use this, I promise. It is super, super helpful. Okay, so what we're going to do today is something called transportation phrasal verbs. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to take a look at what we're going to do. So first of all, we need some vocabulary. Now, you probably use public transportation. If you don't, you're using your own car. But let's take a look at some vocabulary first before we continue. So I've got a lot of pictures here that I want to go through first. So we have, let's start. You probably know some of these. So I'm just going to label them each for you. So first of all, we got an airplane. Okay, next up, we have two different kinds of trains. Now, depending on the country, they have different names, but generally this would be called a bullet train. And then if you're taking the slower one, that is not as fast as the bullet train, we would just call it a slow train. Right, then we have a car. This one goes on the water. This is a sailboat. And this black one here is also on the water. It transports passengers, not a lot of them. This one is called a ferry, not ferry, a ferry. Oh, let's go to the right here. This one is called a hot air balloon. And we have a cute little helicopter. And we got a bus and a truck. Also have a rocket. And then this thing, I actually wrote on this before. I had a lot of fun. This is called a Segway. And then we have, again, depending on the country, might have different names. Here in South Africa, we just call this a scooter. One of my favorites here, a cruise ship. And then we have a bike or a bicycle. We have a jet. And the last one here in the middle is our motorbike. Okay, so what we're going to practice now is some advanced grammar. And what we're going to use is something called the present perfect. Now, don't be scared of the name. The present perfect is, like I said, advanced. So I'm going to make a note here on the side. The present perfect, generally used for when we talk about past experiences. So remember that. This is why we use the present perfect for past experiences. And now the form, it's a little hard, but I'll explain. So when we're going to talk about ourselves here. So I'll be the example. So we have subject, and then the next word, very important, is the word have. So remember, it's present perfect, even though it happened in the past. And then we're going to use the past participle. So what is the past participle? Well, you might know, if you've been studying English for a while, that there are 3 different kinds of verbs in English. So I'll just label it here on the side for you. We have verb 1, verb 2, and verb 3. And this is for all the past tenses. So verb 1 is the base form, normal, easy peasy. Let's do ride. Okay, now if we're using simple past, the easy one, it's going to change to rode. And then verb 3, which is the past participle here that we're doing, this is the most difficult, and it changes a lot if it's an irregular verb. So it'll change to ridden. Okay, so just a note, for all of these, we're going to use the past participle, which is verb 3. Okay, so I'm going to talk about my experience, my past experiences. So we have our positive sentences and we have our negative sentences. So I'll start. So example sentence, I have, let's see, now remember, it also depends on the kind of transportation that you use, that the verb depends on. Sometimes it's different. So I'm going to use segue first. That's this little thing. And the verb we're going to use is ridden. I have ridden the Segway before. It was so much fun. I did this in Korea, next to the river. It was very beautiful and surprisingly easy, actually. Okay, let's do another one. We're not going to use ride or ridden now. We're going to use a different verb. Let's take the bus. So I have, and for this, you're using the verb take. So that's verb 1. Verb 2 is took. Verb 3 is taken. I have taken the bus many times before. Okay, let's use another one. Let's do one that can fly. So airplane. I have, now the base verb is fly, second is flew, and third, flown. I have flown in an airplane. Okay, so I want you to take a look, make notes about the things that you have experienced before. Now I'm moving on to what I have never done. So I do not have this experience. Let's see, where will I start? Okay, I do not have a lot of experience when it comes to flying. So I've flown in an airplane, but I have never flown, we're using the past participle again. I've never flown in a hot air balloon before. I would like to. Pretty scary, but I would like to. Okay, what else have I? Oh, I'm also I'm scared of motorbikes. So I have never ridden motorbike before. And what else? I've actually never been on a ferry. Okay, so for a ferry, we're also going to use take. Never taken ferry. Okay, if you're not sure about this, take a screenshot. You're more than welcome to. This is how you talk about your past experiences. Okay, so I am going to erase all that I wrote here. And then we're going to move on to what we're actually here for. So this was a little warm up for you. So what we're actually here for today is phrasal verbs. Now, these are hard. I'm not going to lie to you. These are super, super, super hard. What are they? Let's take a look. Okay, so the form, very important. Sometimes they come in 2 words or they have 3 words. Okay, so I'm just going to open this up here so you can see. The form is very important. So it is a phrasal verb, so it contains 1 verb. And then the second word is a preposition. Now, The easy way to remember what is a preposition, you look at this part. Position means where. So it's a position word like in, on, under, those kinds of words. Okay, so an example, if you think about it, a verb and a preposition. Let's do eat out. Okay, so you probably heard this before. Eat out means go have dinner in a restaurant or lunch in a restaurant, not at your house, but at a different place at a restaurant. Okay, so this is an example of a phrasal verb. Now, who uses them? If you watch any movie, any English movie, any series, if you listen to English music, you will hear so many phrasal verbs. So native English speakers use them all the time. However, ESL students or second or third or fourth language English speakers, they do not use them very often. Why though? Like I said before, they are super hard and there are many reasons why they are so hard. Okay, the first reason, one phrasal verb can have multiple meanings. So for example, one phrasal verb could have 5 different meanings depending on the context of what you're talking about. So you need to understand that one phrasal verb does not have one meaning. Usually they have multiple meanings. So that's hard. Then they contain verbs, which is generally hard for ESL students because verbs change depending on the time. So if you're referring to the past, the present, or the future, they change. If they're regular verbs or irregular verbs, so we just talked about a couple of irregular verbs in the previous activity, they change, and you need to memorize those. They're really hard to remember, especially for the perfect tenses, which we just did. So when you have to start using verb 3 instead of verb 2, it gets tricky. It's really hard. Okay, the next reason they are difficult is some phrasal verbs are separable. That means you can put something in the middle. You can put a subject or an object in between these two verbs, these two words, but others are not. So this is, again, something you need to memorize, which ones can be separated and which ones cannot be separated. The last reason they are difficult. Some phrasal verbs are more popular depending on the country or the culture. So in the US, for example, some phrasal verbs are more common than, for example, in the UK. So they would use different phrasal verbs more often depending on where these people are from. Okay, don't be scared. We're going to do this together and we're going to practice properly today. So I will help you. The first thing we're going to do is a little matching activity. So remember, I said phrasal verbs have multiple meanings. I find it easier to remember the meanings of them if you study it by category. So we're doing transportation today. So I think it's good to memorize the transportation meaning. And then as your English improves, maybe you move on to food phrasal verbs. And then you see, oh, here's another one, but it has a different meaning now if you're talking about food. All right, so let's start. Like I said, all of these are about traveling. So we're going to match the blue to the pink. Okay, so you'll see here, some have 2 words, some have 3 words. Some are separable, some are not. And I'll show you here how to do it. Okay, so the first one we have here is check in or check out. I'm sure you've heard this before. So when you check in somewhere or when you check out, it's usually at a hotel, or you can do it online if you're flying somewhere. So this means to either register at a hotel, you know, when you go to the reception desk and they give you your key, this is to check in. You can also do it online, check in online your airplane ticket before you fly. Okay, so these two are a pair. Let's make them the same color just to help you out. Okay, let's go with yellow. Okay, next one we have the phrasal verb come back. Very common. Come back means to return somewhere. Right, let's make this red. Okay. The next one's a little difficult. Okay, actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to copy this and move these over. So the reason I'm doing this is because the phrasal verb get in, when it comes to transportation, has two different meanings. So only in this topic alone, it has two meanings. So the first meaning for get in is when you enter a vehicle where you cannot stand up in the vehicle because it's too small to stand up. This is how I remember it. So you get in a car. Can you stand up in a car? I don't think so. Maybe a child can, but you can't. You cannot stand up in a car. Same thing for a taxi. You get in a taxi. So get in, let's do enter a vehicle where you cannot stand up. Okay, it's different from get on. We will get to that later. But for now, get in to enter a vehicle where you cannot stand up, like a taxi or a car. Okay. The second meaning for get in. I'll give you an example sentence. I plan on getting in at 11 o'clock. And when you get in, here it means to arrive somewhere. Yeah, did you know it has two meanings? To arrive. Okay, let's now go to get out. Okay, when you get out, same thing as get in, however, it means to exit. Oh, no, what did I do? My bad. It is to, oh, sorry guys. To exit a vehicle where you can't stand up. So this is the same as get in a taxi, get in a car. When you get out, it is also for a car or a taxi. Okay, if you have any questions, ask me. Now let's move. Ooh, I made a mess of this thing now. Okay, so try to keep track of the colors. Let's see, next one. See someone off. So here you got the verb. Here you have the preposition, and here you can add a person's name. So let's put my name in here. If you see Marie off, it means you say goodbye to this person at the airport or at the train station. So, you know, maybe you've traveled internationally before. I remember my first time I went to the US by myself, first ever trip abroad, and my mom and dad came to the airport with me and they saw me off. They said, "Goodbye, Marie, see you again." And they cried and I cried. So when you say goodbye to someone at the airport, you see them off. Now this is a separate phrasal verb. You can see we separated the two words. We're putting an object or a person in the middle. Okay, let's move on to take off. Probably heard this before, but because we're talking about traveling, it has a different meaning. It's not take off your jacket. Take off here means when an airplane departs. So when an airplane starts to fly away, it takes off. And this is specifically for airplanes. We don't say a bus takes off or a sailboat takes off. It is for an airplane. Okay, the same thing goes for touchdown. Now, if you are an American football fan, you know what touchdown means, but here it means something completely different. It is also only used for airplanes. So when an airplane lands, when it's going from the air and it touches the ground to land at the airport, we say it touched down. Okay, next we have, what should we do next? Oh, let's do another 3 words. Where should I put it? Let's put it here. Okay. Put someone up. Now this might sound very strange, because if you put someone up, it doesn't mean that put. If you put someone up, it means you host them at your house. So, for example, your friend comes to visit you, and your friend does not want to stay at a hotel, and you say, "Oh, friend, come to my house, you can sleep here." If someone sleeps at your house because you invited them, then you put them up. They sleep at your house, you host them. Okay, let's continue with, oh, here we go. We didn't do this one yet. Get on or get off. So remember when I talked about get in, I said it is to enter a vehicle where you cannot stand up. Now this is different, where you get on a type of vehicle or an animal where you can stand up. It is get on. So for example, a bus, you can stand up in a bus. A boat, you can stand up on a boat. A horse, even though you usually sit, you can still stand up. Or a bike, you usually sit, but you can't stand up. So in that case, it is get on or get off the bus, get on the airplane, get on the horse, get on the blah, blah. Anything you can stand up in or on is get on or get off. Okay, 2 more left here. Ooh, we're making good progress. We still have a lot to do though. Okay, so stop off. These two are not exactly opposites, but they're similar to, close to opposites. So when you stop off somewhere, it is an interrupted journey, similar to layover. So for me, because I'm from South Africa, if I want to travel to Tokyo, it's a long flight. So there are no direct flights from South Africa to Tokyo. That means I will probably need to fly up to Heathrow or Dubai. Then I will spend some time at the airport and wait for the next airplane, and then I fly to Tokyo. So when that happens, your journey is interrupted, and we call that stop off. Yeah, you've probably, if you've traveled a lot, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, last one here. To set off is when you begin a journey. So you can use this as an example. You can say, oh, this morning I set off at 5 o'clock, or I set off at 9 to be on time for work. Okay, I know this is a lot. There are so many phrasal verbs here, but we're going to practice it now. I actually have 10 more that I wanted to do, but I think we're going to run out of time here. So let's just do this one. Maybe next time I'll do the rest. Okay, so we're going to practice now. And the way I find it very easy to practice is if you have your phrasal verbs, you know their meanings. So I added the meanings here on the right. And then what we're going to do, you see I color coded these. So the green is for a positive statement. So I'm just going to put a little plus here. Positive statement. The red is for a negative statement. And the yellow is for a question. Okay, so try to remember. You see the color, that's what it means. So the best way to practice these is using different kinds of sentences, which we're going to do now. Also to always check the meaning and if it's separable or not, as well as the grammar, which is super, super hard. Okay, so what I also find to really work to remember these is if you personalize these sentences. You can write about other people, but if you write about your own experiences or you talk about your own experiences, it's much easier to remember, I find. So I'm going to do that with my own life and my own experiences now. So you can make your own sentences with these, with me, and see how it goes. If you have questions, ask me, comment. Okay. So remember we talked about check in or out, and that means to either register at a hotel or when you get your boarding pass at the airport. And in this case, we're going to make a positive statement. And imagine I'm talking to, my sister calls me and she asks me, oh, have you checked in at the hotel? And then I can tell her in a positive sentence, I checked in hotel 20 minutes ago. Maybe we should put all of these on the side. There we go. Okay, so this is an example of checked in. So you see that I added an ED here because I'm talking about the past. It happened 20 minutes ago in the past. And this is a regular verb, so it doesn't change a lot when we're using the past. Okay, the next one, come back. It's when you return somewhere. And now we're going to change it to a negative statement. And that means your sentence needs the word not in it. Okay, so let's see. I did not, or didn't, I did not come back to my house when I was sick. Okay. Negative form. I did not return to my house when I was sick because I went to the doctor. Okay, next one. Get in or get out. Now remember, this is when you enter or exit a vehicle where you cannot stand. And we're going to use a question now. So what kind of question can I ask with get in or get out? And we're talking about a taxi or a car. So imagine you're in a taxi. Maybe the taxi driver would ask you a question like, where would you like to get out? That means, where do you want to exit the taxi? Where would you like to get out? Okay, next one is positive. We're moving on to get on or get out. And this is when you enter or exit a vehicle or animal where you can stand up. Okay, we're making a positive sentence. So if I'm talking to someone and they ask me where I am, I can say, I just got out of the bus. I am walking to your house. Just got out. Now remember, get is an irregular verb, so it'll change to got. Okay, next one is a negative sentence. When you put someone up, you host them at your house or they sleep at your house. And let's change this to my friend Ron. So my best friend, this is Ron. I haven't seen her in a very long time. So my sentence is going to be, I have not put Ron up for a very long time. She needs to come visit me. I miss her. I want her to live close to me, but she lives so far away. So I have not, oops, I have not put, what am I doing? I have not put Ron up for a very long time. Okay, next up we have see someone off. This is also a separable phrasal verb. So when you say goodbye at the airport, so the example I gave you was when I went abroad for the first time, my mom and dad came to the airport and they saw me off. They said, au revoir, goodbye. Let's change this to my mom. And yellow is a question form. So maybe I can ask my sister, did you see mom? What am I doing? Sorry, guys, it's Friday. Did you see mom off the airport? Question form. Okay, next we have positive again. And take off, not take off your jacket. This is when an airplane departs, when it goes. Let's use future tense now. We haven't used future tense yet. My plane will take off at 11 p.m. Remember, this is only for airplanes, nothing else. Touchdown. Only for airplanes. And we're using a negative now. So I'm going to talk about my sister. And I could say, so my sister's name is Tina. Say, Tina's plane. No, she doesn't own a plane. Tina's flight. Not down yet. They are late. Okay, so negative sentence has the word not in it. And because it's past, ed is added. This is not a irregular verb, very easy. Next one, stop off. So remember, this is when you're going somewhere, but you're stopping along the way. Usually at an airport, if you have connecting flights going somewhere else. Where have I stopped off before? Oh, I had a terrible stop off in Dubai, I think. The reason I say it's terrible is I couldn't leave the airport because I didn't have a visa. I had to stay in the airport. I think it was 16 hours. I stopped off in Dubai and had to stay in the airport for 16. Oh, it was long. And this is a long time ago as well. So their airport wasn't as nice as it is today. Okay, last one we're going to do is set off to begin a journey. Oh, I made a mistake. Sorry, guys. This one is supposed to be a question form. My mistake. Question form. You have to wait long time. You okay, now it's question. And lastly, we have set off. And this is again positive. So set off is to begin a journey. Let's do future tense. We are planning to set off at noon tomorrow. So that means we are planning to go start our journey at noon tomorrow. Okay, so take a screenshot of this, make notes, practice. You will hear these phrasal verbs all the time. If you do watch English movies, listen to music, they're there. So I think next time I'm going to continue. So I'll give you a sneak peek about what I want to do next time. So we got 10 more here, which I think will be great for our next one. But for today, we are done. I really hope that this helped you. And I want you to practice. Many people think, oh, I don't have time. If you prioritize, if you make time, your English will improve. I promise you. I'm bilingual. I also speak 2 languages, so I know it's hard. If you want to practice this with me, you're welcome to. You can get a free lesson. Go to Fluentella's website, you click on shop, and then you'll see I'm sorry, my dog is barking. You go to our website, you click on shop, and then you'll see there's a free lesson icon. Click on the free lesson. You can take a free lesson with any of our teachers. We have fantastic English teachers, Spanish, Mandarin, Portuguese, your choice, all free. Click on a free lesson there and we'll help you out if you have any questions. But I hope you enjoyed this and I'll see you again next time. Have a great weekend, everybody. Goodbye.